Hello, welcome to RS Craftworks and welcome to my workshop, which is currently the outdoors in my grandparents' garden. Lovely place to work actually, beautiful flowers everywhere. However, not always the ideal conditions, especially since I live in England. Skies, I mean it's clear right now and it's actually quite warm outside, but I never know when that's going to change, so I might have to retreat into the house at some point. But it's a lovely atmosphere. No need for dust extraction since I'm already outdoors. As long as the dust goes away from me, not a big deal. The workbench I'm working on is some adjustable, I think this is made from McAllister. I mean, it's a decent workbench to be fair. If you're just working out in the garden like I am, you can just fold it away and then you can bring it back out and get straight to work. However, it is not ideal. It's not very stable. Since it's adjustable in every single direction, it can wobble in every single direction. Yeah, so that's current setup right now. Alright then, so today we're gonna make a start on this great guitar build-off build. So I have my body blank out here. It's got the body shape painted on there. Unfortunately, I'm not a very good cameraman, so actually getting a good decent thing without everything being whitewashed out is going to be difficult, but here is the basic plan. I've got my body blank with my basic body shape traced out. I've also got my dragon inlay cut out of my design. I'm just lining everything up, making sure it looks good and make sure everything fits within the actual body shape, which it seems to do. Center lines line up and everything, and I think we're ready to go. Now, this dragon, this design here, is going to be made out of purple heart. So I've got a big chunk of purple heart here, right here, and obviously it's too big to fit on there, and it is not wide enough to take the entire dragon inlay out. So what I'm going to do, cut two pieces out, joint them together, and then have two halves to cut the actual dragon inlay out. So that will be the next step in the process. So these two pretty much line up as they are, with no apparent gaps there. There's a little bit of light coming through, so really if I just sand these two panels together, they should meet up pretty well. So I'll go ahead and level them out. Okay, so both of these are jointed and they're no longer showing gaps in light, so I'm just going to go ahead and get these glued up. Now I tend to use a lot of glue. Smarter people out there will be able to tell. People with more experience will be able to tell how much glue is enough, how much is too much. Personally, I always go a little bit too much and let the squeeze out happen. It is a wasteful way of doing it, but I always get the joints that I am after. So what keeps working, you might as well stick with until you learn better. So I just spread that out of my high-tech glue spreading device. If anybody knows what that's a reference to, let's be friends. Okay. Here's where I glue the damn thing to my workbench. That's incredibly sad. My clamps don't reach. Don't panic. I managed to find some extra big clamps. Yeah, obviously you got to plan this out a bit better than I did, but I really thought that those plans would work. Luckily I had some of these sash clamps nearby, so it's not a big deal. Even then you've still got some open time with these glues. Now I've just got to clean up the squeeze out and let it set. So the first steps have been taken. Getting the inlay prepared, got the panel jointed up. It's not jointed up very well, and the way I've jointed it up is by no means the correct way of doing it. Jointing panels together is a lot more complex than how I've made it out to be. Luckily I had pre-dimensioned lumber and it was planed on all sides, so it saved me a hell of a lot of work there. But the next step, it really is to start working on the dragon inlay. Now, the reason I want to work on a dragon inlay first is because pickup cavities and neck cavities, they tend to be the first step. While the guitar body blank is in a nice square flat position, you've got a nice base to put your router on. I want to get this in there because I also want to do the router cavities for this while this is in there, and I wanted to do it while it's all flat and sort of lumberish still. So we will inlay the dragon, get it prepped for routing. So this is the first step right now, and hopefully we'll get to the next step soon. We'll see how long this glue takes to chooch. Alright then, panel's glued up. We've got a slight lip where the joint is. I didn't need it to be fully like flush with each other because this is very thick piece of purple heart that I intend to inlay in there. So I've got plenty of material to work with. I'm just going to flatten it and make sure I can actually get the inlay fitted in there. So let's get to it. Now I've sharpened my tool before I'm attempting this, so because purple heart's some solid stuff. Just approach it gently and don't take too big a bite at once. There we go. Approach it from the side. Remarkably flat. Yeah. Got a huge hump in this area. Just gonna get rid of that. And that is more like it. The joys. Alright then, so I've successfully glued on the design onto the board. You can actually see the glue lines I've put down. I just used super glue because it was the first thing I had to hand, and it does the job fairly well. And I want it to remain mostly flat so that when I get to it on tools, paper doesn't start sticking up from nowhere. In this case, it's a fairly simple shaped cutout. Now, I'm doing some accenting on this, so I'm going to actually engrave, I'm going to make channels where I'm going to put some ebony dust into these spine bits. Where I've coloured in darker, I'm going to inlay some black powder, give it some accenting, just to make it a bit more interesting than just a fully purple dragon. And these will be something special. I'll talk more about that when I actually get to it. But yeah, the next step really is to start engraving these spines on the wings. So that's the next step. Right, now I'm going at this. I've just had a little go with a little bit of a Dremel tool on the top, and I have found really I shouldn't really skip any steps. Go at this with this. Probably one of the most dangerous tools in the workshop. Many people cut their fingers on these things. I've just got to concentrate, take my time and trace these channels just so they don't spelch out when I actually go to route them with the Dremel tool. So here we go. lots of cutting done, lots of cutting to do. Now, this is a really cool idea, obviously, but I've done half the wings, so I've routed out the channels here, and I've got to do the same on this side. Now, this is going to look really good when it's done. Obviously, it's a lot of boring work to get there first, so it's just one of those things. And obviously there's probably more efficient ways of doing this. If you have any suggestions, do let us know in the comments below, and I will try and look into that in future. But for now, this is the best way I can do it, get the most satisfactory results this way. Satisfactory results, pronunciations. And this is just the way we're going to go at it for now. So awful lot more cutting to do, but I will get there. So on the next episode, we will actually cut out the shape and start inlaying it into the guitar, hopefully, as long as nothing gets itself on fire. All right then. So that'll end it for this one. Thank you for joining me in this workshop, aka the garden, and hopefully you enjoyed this episode. I know it's a lot of boring, repetitive work in this one, but it's all part to get a great looking guitar by the end of it, hopefully. So thank you for watching. Hope you stick with me for the rest of the series, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.